In 2012, Chevrolet built a car. $54,995. And their own chief engineer stood up and said, more horsepower than a Ferrari 458. More torque than an Aston Martin DB9. Better power to weight than a Porsche 911 Carrera GTS. That wasn't a boast. That was a fact. And Europe never saw it coming. This is the Chevrolet Camaro ZL1. And this is why it's the greatest muscle car ever built.
But before we get to 2012, we need to go back to 1969. Because you can't understand what the ZL1 became without understanding what it was born to be. America in 1969 had one religion: the drag strip. Ford had the Mustang, Dodge had the Hemi, and Chevrolet had a serious problem. General Motors had a strict internal rule: no engine larger than 400 cubic inches in any midsize or smaller car. The Camaro was being outgunned, and everyone knew it. Then Fred Gibb walked in, an Illinois Chevrolet dealer. One obsession: destroy the Hemi in NHRA Superstock drag racing. He pushed Chevrolet to drop their most extreme racing engine, an all-aluminum 427 cubic inch V8 built for Can-Am Motorsport, straight into a production Camaro. General Motors said no. Gibb pushed harder. GM said yes. The engine was officially rated at 430 horsepower, but put it on a dyno, and it was making closer to 550. Chevrolet deliberately understated the power, because if the real number got out, the competition wouldn't have shown up. There was just one problem. That all-aluminum engine cost as much as the entire rest of the car. So a ZL1 Camaro cost double what a standard Camaro cost. Only 69 were ever built. 69. Today, a pristine example sells for $700,000. The Legend costs 100 times what it did when new. But from 1969, the ZL1 name went completely silent. No successor, no follow-up, nothing. For over 40 years, the greatest muscle car name in history just waited. Then, in 2012, it came back. And it didn't come back quiet. Chevy dropped the LSA, a supercharged 6.2-liter V8. The same engine from the Cadillac CTS V, but breathing harder, hitting heavier. 580 horsepower, 556 pound-feet of torque. But here's what made the 2012 ZL1 completely different from its 1969 ancestor. The original was built for one thing: a straight line, quarter mile, done. The 2012 ZL1 was built for everything. Chevrolet took it to the Nurburgring, the most brutal 13 miles of road on planet Earth, the circuit that breaks supercars, the track where engineers go to find out if their car is actually good or just fast on paper. The ZL1 lapped it in 7 minutes 41 seconds. A $55,000 American muscle car on the Nurburgring in 7:41. Porsche was watching. Ferrari was watching. And neither one of them said a word. Let's talk about what lives under that hood. Because the LSA engine deserves more than just a spec sheet. 6.2 liters. Supercharged. Root-style blower with a 4-lobe rotor set. Compact intercooler sitting right on top. 480 horsepower. 556 pound-feet of torque. At idle, it rumbles. Low, deep, threatening. Like something alive under that hood that hasn't been fed yet. Open the throttle, the dual mode exhaust valves open up, and the whole personality changes. It doesn't just go fast. It announces itself.
And Chevy built everything around that engine to make sure it never ran out of breath. Magnetic ride control, third generation. The most advanced suspension system ever fitted to a production muscle car at that time. Reading the road 1,000 times per second.
Adjusting in real time. Launch control. Performance traction management. Rear differential cooler. Engine oil cooler. Transmission cooler. Brake cooling ducts. This isn't a muscle car with a big engine bolted in. This is a complete performance machine built from the ground up around that engine. Now, the numbers. Because this is where the ZL1 stops being impressive and starts being offensive. 0 to 60, 3.9 seconds. Quarter mile, 12 flat at 119 miles per hour. Top speed, 184 miles per hour. $54,995. The Audi R8 GT cost $196,800. The Mercedes SLS AMG cost $185,750. The ZL1 had more torque than both of them. And then there's that Nurburgring time again. 7 minutes, 41 seconds. On the same circuit where Porsche spends hundreds of millions developing their cars, at a fraction of the price of any of them. But here's the line that matters most. Straight from Al Oppenheiser, Camaro's own chief engineer. More horsepower than a Ferrari 458. More torque than an Aston Martin DB9 V12. Better power to weight than a Porsche 911 Carrera GTS. He didn't say it quietly. He said it at a press conference in Detroit with a straight face because it was true.
Now, real talk for a second. The ZL1 isn't perfect. The interior quality, it doesn't match the performance. Sitting next to a Porsche or Ferrari cabin, it feels exactly what it is. A $55,000 car. The fuel economy? 12 miles per gallon in the city. With 580 horsepower, you're not surprised. But you will feel it at the pump. And the visibility? That low roofline and those thick pillars make parking something you do carefully. But here's the thing. Nobody who buys a Camaro ZL1 is buying it for the interior trim quality. Nobody is buying it for the fuel economy. They're buying it because nothing else on the road at that price makes them feel the way this car makes them feel. And that matters more than any of it. So why is the Camaro ZL1 the greatest muscle car ever built? Not because it's the fastest, not because it's the most refined, not because it has the best interior, because of what it represents. It represents the idea that performance should not be exclusive. That speed should not require a six-figure budget. That an American car, built in Detroit, can embarrass the best Europe has to offer at a fraction of the price. The Ferrari 458 cost over $230,000. The ZL1 had more horsepower at $54,995. That isn't just value for money. That is a statement about what American engineering is capable of when it stops apologizing and starts building. The 1969 original started as 69 hand-built drag racing weapons built through a loophole. And 43 years later, the name came back as the most complete performance car America had ever produced. Drag strip, road course, daily driver, all in one car. All for $55,000. No other muscle car in history has ever done all three at that level, at that price. That is why it's the greatest. The Camaro ZL1 was never trying to be a Ferrari, never trying to be a Porsche. It was trying to be better than both at half the price. And in 2012, it succeeded. That's what makes it special. Not the horsepower number, not the lap time, the fact that a kid in Detroit who couldn't afford a Ferrari could walk into a Chevrolet dealership and drive out in something that would embarrass one on a track. That's the American dream, with a supercharger on top. If the ZL1 means something to you, drop it in the comments. Your favorite generation, your favorite memory, your dream spec. Because MotorVault is built for people who don't just like cars, who live them. Subscribe. New videos every Monday and Friday. The vault is always open.